Hello friends! I will discuss about Newton's third law of motion. Before that, what is the third law of motion? The third law of motion is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. For example, when two objects interact with each other, it can apply the third law of motion. Like this object. There is a boy who's playing basketball. The basketball is reflected to the ground by the boy. When the basketball is pushed down, it has force from the boy, and the ground exerts an upward force on the basketball. These forces are called the action and reaction forces. The force exerted by the basketball onto the ground was an action force, and the force exerted by the ground onto the basketball is the reaction force. According to Newton's third law of motion, the magnitude of force on the basketball equals the magnitude of force on the ground. Then, what about the direction? The direction of force on the basketball is opposite to the direction of force on the ground. Okay, let's see another example. What happened when a person shoots an arrow? Yes, it's applied the third law of motion. When a person pulls the bow to back and release, then an arrow draws forward. It means the person exerts the forward force onto the arrow and the arrow exerts an equal and opposite reaction force on the person. But why the acceleration of the arrow doesn't equal with the person? We can look at Newton's second law of motion. The force is the product of the object mass and acceleration. Or the acceleration of the object is equal to the force over its mass. But why? Because mass of the person not equal with mass of the arrow. So, even though they have equal force, but if they have different mass, they will have different acceleration too. Mathematically, the Newton's third law of motion, like this. So, if an object exerts force on the other object, then the object that is subject to the force will give the same force, but the direction is opposite. Okay friends, that is an application of Newton's third law of motion, and this discussion has finished. Bye!